What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. It's time for AEW Dynamite as both Jon Moxley and Cody Rhodes are scheduled to return. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Dynamite, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including a fan calling Moxley drunk and dropping an F-bomb, huge news on WWE 2K22, a WWE Superstars battle with COVID, WWE scared to lose a top star, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now, we won't recap the matches, but just look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, Mox is back. Jon Moxley is back, and it's clear both he and AEW's fanbase couldn't be happy to see him return after spending time in an inpatient treatment for alcohol abuse. Moxley got back into business, telling a story of a disturbing dream as well as the importance of bearing your inner scars. Moxley looks so healthy and just didn't miss a beat in his promo, especially his chilling comments that all he wants to drink now is blood. Now, this set the tone for what fans and opponents should expect. AEW wisely didn't waste Moxley's return by answering the question of whether he's turning heel, instead giving him time to address the fans and for them to welcome him back. Number 2, Sting is ageless. How does Sting still do it? The wrestling legend is 62 years old, but he performs like he's 29 like his tag team partner Darby Allin. How is Sting jumping off the stage, let alone getting back up? Sting worked a glorified handicap match against the Acclaimed after Max Caster and Anthony Bowens took Allin out. Sting worked the match like a madman, taking some wild bumps until Darby rejoined him. Is Allin rubbing off on Sting with all the sick bumps? If so, we want to know the secrets to Sting's longevity. Number 3, Pac's ferocious promo. Can anyone stop Malachi Black? Well, that's a question fans had to be asking after Brody King joined Black as the Kings of the Black Throne, destroying Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. on Dynamite. Then enter Pac, who cut a ferocious promo on Black that hinted that the bastard who was recently blinded by Malachi Black's mist was ready to join forces with Black and King. However, Pac shocked Black when he proclaimed Black is the same as every other cretin in AEW and that Pac is incorruptible. Pac's video was fantastic as it incorporated dark imagery, including him showing the Justice card from the Tarot deck, and as exciting it was to hear Pac's words and encouraging that AEW didn't go with the easy path of having Pac join Black, he just doesn't seem that kind of person who would bow down to anyone. This feud could be awesome though. It's one badass taking on another badass. Number 4, packing a punch. Now, last night's Dynamite showed just how much wrestling you can fit in a 2-hour show. Incredibly, they featured 6 matches, in-ring promos including Jon Moxley's powerful promo and Cody Rhodes' sometimes powerful but often rambling promo, and a number of backstage segments designed to forward storylines and follow-up matches. Whether it was Adam Cole vowing to end Orange Cassidy with a lights-out match, Santana and Ortiz confronting Chris Jericho about whether he's helped them or held them back in the inner circle, and Lance Archer's brawl with AEW World Champion Adam Page, Dynamite didn't let up for a minute. AEW successfully navigated the fine line between stuffing 20 pounds of crap into a 10-pound bag and pacing itself a rarity in wrestling. And lastly, Serena is sensational. Serena Deeb's battle with Blue Sky was a reminder of what a great asset Deeb is for AEW. She is sensational, and it's good to see her being featured more and more every week as she's no longer one of the company's hidden gems, but a strong heel who can help younger talent improve their skills while also putting on entertaining matches. The 35-year-old grappler is no enhancement talent, however, and her feud with former AEW Women's Champion Hikaru Shida has allowed AEW time to showcase its women in something besides a title match. But that was good. What about the bad? As number 1, Shawn Spears squash. Now, some may have liked this and thought it was a clever squash, but we don't think it was. Punk doesn't need to be squashing anyone, and it hurt Spears far more than it helped Punk with his feud against MJF. While Spears isn't presented as a top-tier talent, his role in the Pinnacle was supposed to elevate him. That hasn't happened, another example of how AEW's focus on factions doesn't play out unless they're booked consistently. The Pinnacle has gone from a main event feud with the Inner Circle to Spears and Wardlow being a side project with MJF and FTR doing their thing in the tag team division. Now, there was nothing downright ugly about last night's show as AEW used Jon Moxley's return as a great lead-in for the rest of an action-packed show, which forwarded an amazing number of angles. It wasn't a perfect show, but it was enjoyable from start to finish. What did you guys think of Dynamite last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Our first story looks at the SmackDown Superstar re-signing with WWE. Atop in today's news is a report that current superstar Sami Zayn has signed a new deal with WWE. Fightful Select Sean Ross Sapp is reporting the former NXT and Intercontinental Champion has put pen to paper on a multi-year deal with the company. Now, there's no details on how many years Zayn signed for or how much he'll earn in the new deal. The WWE appears to be setting things up for a program between Zayn and Johnny Knoxville, as a Jackass star will be competing in this year's Men's Rumble match. What do you think of Zayn staying in WWE? Did he make the right choice? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Jon Moxley drops the F-bomb. Jon Moxley's return made it clear that he's got no time for trolls, as a so-called fan called him a drunk, leading to Mox telling him to go F himself. Dave Meltzer noted on the Wrestling Observer Radio that the person in question booed him and said, "Get this drunken piece of trash out of the ring." And Moxley heard it, and Moxley says, F you, get out of here. And it's just like, there's always one idiot in the crowd, but it's like, of all the things to say on this day to that person. Naturally, Moxley's use of the F-bomb is news because it's not normally used on Dynamite. Next up, Triple H is offered AEW Stars. There's interesting news concerning Triple H and his efforts to bring in the Elite, as Matt Hardy is claiming wrestling cerebral assassin was prepared to break open the WWE's bank to sign stars such as Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Hardy discussed this on his new podcast, The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. So long story short, I didn't speak to Adam Page, but I did speak to the Young Bucks a lot, and they were also in negotiations. WWE was trying to get all these guys, they wanted to lock them all down. But I do know that Triple H was all over those guys, Omega, Bucks and Hangman, as far as trying to bring them in, and they offered him a ton of money, and I know they did Hangman as well. You just gotta think how different the present would look like if those guys did leave and go to WWE. It's unlikely AEW would have come into existence had the members of the Elite chose the WWE. However, would those talented stars have fared in WWE? Would they have been lost in the WWE shuffle? Next up, huge news on WWE 2K22. There's big news on 2K's upcoming 2K22 wrestling simulator, as the company has released a number of details on what fans should expect when the game is released on 11th March. Wrestling Inc. summarized some of the game's features, including some you've likely heard about in our sister station Wrestlegamia, such as a redesigned gameplay engine, new controls, upgraded visuals, and all new game modes. This includes the return of the MyGM mode. It's the first time the feature has been included in a WWE video game since Raw vs SmackDown 2008. It's also the first time the mode will be available since 2K acquired the rights to the franchise in 2011. 2K says the MyGM mode will allow players to draft rosters and develop rivalries. Another feature that sounds intriguing is the My Faction mode, as 2K players will be able to collect and manage their dream faction with weekly events and regular updates. 2K22 also boasts the availability for cross-platform sharing of various players' creations such as wrestlers, arenas, and title belts, which is pretty awesome. As always, the game has a number of editions available, ranging from a standard edition to the several higher priced tiers, including an NWO for Life digital edition, which actually includes Eric Bischoff for the first time in, I believe, since SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Next up, are WWE scared to lose her top star to AEW? A fascinating news concerning former Universal Champion Finn Balor, as a story at Ringside News seems to indicate that WWE has little use for Finn Balor, but they don't want him to head to AEW either. Ringside News was told by a tenured member of the creative team that Vince McMahon never saw Finn Balor as a key player. In fact, Vince never had faith in Balor. To him, Balor is a high spot guy that doesn't sell in a way that means box office. He sells, then he's doing his spot, and Vince just thinks he's filler on the roster. At the same time, they also noted that we were also told that AEW would bend over backwards for Balor, and he would definitely be another WWE guy in AEW. I wonder if that's why he's still around. Do you think Balor will ever go to AEW? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, a superstar talks testing positive for COVID. Now, add Carmella to the list of WWE superstars who have tested positive for COVID-19. Carmella, who currently holds the Women's Tag Team Championship with Queen Zelina, appeared on the Bear With Us podcast alongside Corey Graves, recalling a recent bout with coronavirus. I got COVID. I got about, a week and a half ago. No, 2 weeks ago now. Yeah, I woke up just super not feeling well, just really tired, run down, and took some tests and I tested positive. I mean, it was like a cold. It was kind of like a little bit worse than a cold. I was down and out for like 3 or 4 days, just not really doing much. But on the up and up, feeling better now. Well, we're glad that she managed to recover quickly enough. But there you have it, folks. Our look at Dynamite, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.